Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. You can find me on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. Spelling GaelanTrombley. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show.
I was this morning, honestly.
Were you really?
I was throwing up and everything because I don't want to talk. And then
Wait, were you really?
I don't. This is new to me.
You weren't throwing up, were you really?
No, I was really like
heaving, like dry heaving.
Like I was.
Okay, well we're live now. So folks, you just got on. So my guest today, I'm actually pumped. I think I ran into a couple times since we graduated, but obviously as this goes along, people realize why I haven't ran into him much. He hasn't really been in the States. But my guest today, Corey Lewis. This is gonna be fun. I mean, God, I've known you since I was a kid. We played sports together growing up. Obviously, you much better than I was. I think we were just joking out in the hall. I think I passed a ball here or two, or here or there to you. But fantastic athlete, and now, or still now, a professional basketball player over in Gießen, Germany. Gießen. I'm gonna mess that up the whole time. But do people still call you Lewis? They call you Corey.
People that know me call me Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody else calls me Corey.
Okay, so I'm going to call you Lewis. So
okay.
Lewis, I don't know you any different. So, all right. So
people, Shazy people call me Lewis.
Still.
Yeah. You know Joey Reef?
Yeah.
And him.
Yeah. And Josh, the token Plattsburgh High. Yeah. Joey used to play a lot with us back in the day.
Yeah.
That's how I met Joey. His wife came on this, and then I see Joey at the bank and stuff.
Yeah, we're still great friends till this day.
And Trey.
Trey Jones,
they work. I think they still work together, right? Yeah.
Quick side note, if I can, Trey is the reason why my ball handling became so well.
For which reason?
Trey Jones is very skilled himself, so he saw me in the gym and he knew. He said he knew something about me that was special or whatever. So he took his time out and put me through a lot of ball handling drills.
Is Trey's your age? Or
older.
He was older because he went to Plattsburgh High, right?
Yeah. He graduated 2 years before us.
Okay. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. I mean, I only really... Well, I remember of him back then. I knew Joey, obviously, because he played a lot with us. But I think we might have played with Trey, or you brought him to Shazy or something. Yeah. But he's... No, like I said, both great guys. So since you left Shazy, and we'll dive back into that, what have you been up to, the last 15 years?
So, graduated from Shazy. I went to Cobleskill with Jacob Spiegel.
Yep.
For the people that know him.
Yep.
And
another Shazy guy, shout out.
So me and him were roommates. We went there for soccer. I got hurt and I just fell out of love of soccer. So I was like, let me try basketball. I played pickup with the basketball team. I believed I was the best point guard in the gym that day. So somebody pulled me to the side. Hey, tryouts is next week. Why don't you try out? So I was like, sure. I ended up trying out, make the team. And
for Cobleskill.
I played one season there, played pretty well. I led the league in steals, I think it was, as a freshman. And then the year after, me and the coach didn't get along because I was hard-headed at the time. And so I got cut my sophomore year, and I ended up going to the best team in our conference, which is Wells College. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a blessing. And then I went there, and that's where basketball really took off because I was around a lot of really good players.
I remember we went down one year when I was with the soccer team with Rob. In Oneonta, yeah, you were playing Oneonta, and that was cool to go watch.
That was my first college. That's when I knew I wasn't ready because I'll never forget you guys were there. I can tell you where everybody was sitting.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I remember attacking a defender. I think he was a junior at the time. I was a freshman. I hit him with my go-to move and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I gotta change something. And that's when I was welcome to real basketball.
I think you played okay that day though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you just started, but I remember, that was cool for us because as you know, with Final Four, there's a lot of downtime. So to go out and see an alumni go play, another sport was kind of cool. So that was probably one of the most fun, just little offsets there, offshoots. But so you played at Wells, and then after Wells, what happened?
So I didn't get to play my senior year at Wells. I tore my Achilles the last day on campus my junior year. So we all got together, the basketball team, and a player that used to play with us, he transferred, and I was really close to him. So when he came, I'm like, you know what, I have to play. I haven't seen him. Let's play. Last game, game point, they gave me the ball. I was going to attack my defender, and I made a move and my Achilles snapped. So I was out of the game for, I think, 3 years. And then,
Really?
yeah.
Just rehab or just took forever to get?
Both rehab and I was like, I'm done because I keep getting hurt. So
Oh, so like mentality-wise, you were just kind of
Yeah.
giving up on it?
yeah, because I couldn't stay healthy.
How old were you at the time?
23, I think it was.
What are you now, 35?
33.
33?
Yeah,
That's all you are?
yeah.
Oh, no, okay. I don't know why I thought you were older, but so you got, okay, so no, this is good. So after you got hurt at Wells, that just started, nothing sports-wise at the time, probably just pickup, but nothing.
No, so when I got hurt, I just came home, and
Did you still play?
no, I sat out for I think it was 2 years, and then one of my good friends named Anthony Hodge, he was like, "Why don't you?"
Last Rick State guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was like, "Why don't you just try it? Like you're healthy, my like my new healthy. Let's see if you can like get in shape and still compete." So I took like 3 months. He helped me, him and Travis Gorham.
Yeah.
They helped me get in shape. And then Sean Gutzman came. I knew him for a while, but once I started getting going, he put me through workouts. So those 3. Next thing you know, Anthony Hodge was like, "Hey, I'm going to a tryout. If you make the team, you go to Italy." So I was like, "All right, why not?" I went to the tryout. I performed a lot better than I thought I would because I didn't play for so long, and that was technically my first offer. So the coaches said I was the best point guard in the camp, and they would like to offer me. So Italy was my first offer, which would have been 2015.
Where was the tryout?
Buffalo, New York.
And then, so going to Italy first time in Europe?
No, I never went. So
Okay.
when I was supposed to leave a week before that, the sponsors dropped out. So the team crashed.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And where would that have been in Italy?
Honestly,
No.
they told me I was just like, I couldn't even believe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Just so you skipped Italy. So what happened after that?
I played for a semi-pro team in Niagara Falls for a season. It was called the Thunder Snow, but it didn't go to plan. The owner/coach already had his like seven players he liked, so it was hard to get in the rotation. And then one day, people didn't show up because of injury or whatever. I don't know. So I got into the game. I performed pretty well. Then I started getting minutes, but there was only like 4 to 5 games left. So, but out of those 4 to 5 games, another team saw me, I guess, but they were out of Mexico, and that's when I turned like professional. So I was playing semi-pro, and then I went pro.
So your first bout in professional was in Mexico.
Yeah.
And where was Mexico?
It was called Telecon,
Okay.
and then I played there, and then like they would like send players or trade players to different cities. And I played most of my time in Puerto Escondido, which was like really far south into Mexico.
So kind of like almost like Central America south.
Yeah, like no English at all.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you're living out there, are you just like in an apartment, or do you guys have like a
So
dorm area?
in Mexico, the owner owned a hotel, so we each had our own room.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and then in Europe, it's been a house.
Just a house for the team.
No,
Or,
yeah, well,
or are
two.
you with the host family?
No, it's just me and my best friend Chris Miller. We live in a house together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So how was so let's go Mexico. Like how's not speaking Spanish? How was that?
It was fun.
Can you speak Spanish now?
No, I was learning it, and it was coming easy. And then once I came back to New York, where we live, nobody uses it.
Yeah.
So I lost it.
But you had enough to get by down there?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. How long were you in Mexico for?
I played there for 8 months.
And this would have been what, 2016?
Yeah, 16.
Okay.
And then right after that is when I went to Europe, 2017.
And then you went where in Europe from Mexico?
Same place, Gießen.
Okay, so you've been at Gießen for a while.
Yeah.
So when you make the transfer from Mexico to Germany, how does that work? Same thing. You have like other connections or scouts for those programs.
So my like I said, my best friend Chris Miller, he was playing there, and he was like, "Oh, there's a team that need a point guard. You should come here and try out." So I came. I went to the tryout. I played really well, and they offered me. And the team I played there, it was called Visic, and but they're in the city of Gießen. So
Okay.
I played there. I performed pretty well. I averaged 28, I think it was that season, 29,
Jeez.
28. And then that's when I played against the team I'm currently on. And I think I had 32. And they're like, oh, come play for us because it's a higher league. And I've been there.
So you've risen up a little
Yeah.
bit. So so you've been in Germany
Since 2017.
consistently in Germany. Like
No.
I mean, for how much of the year are you in Germany?
So I went 17, 18, COVID hit, 19, came home, Spain first season, and then back to Germany.
Now, when you went to Spain, was that just because they had a league going and Germany didn't?
No, me and the team from Germany couldn't come to an agreement of money, and the team in Spain was a better team anyways. So it was for me to build my resume, and so I went there. I performed pretty well, and then the team I'm currently on saw a video of me, and they're like, "Oh, come back."
So are you the oldest player in the team?
No,
So what's the age in the league that you're in right now, roughly?
honestly, it goes from 16. You can turn pro at 16 and up.
And what's the old? I mean, how? So you're 33. How long do you think you have year wise?
I'm just honestly playing it year by year.
Yeah. So you're kind of at that stage where it's just like keeping
Yeah.
the body healthy.
Yep.
What are you doing right now to maintain your body?
I just train. I want to say, give or take, 5 hours a day, but split it. Now I eat healthy compared to years ago. I was eating very, very bad,
Yeah.
and sleep is important. So
like, what's your normal training split on a day?
like, I work with this kid that's autistic. So from 11 to, or actually, 11:30 to 2, I do weights, and then I go work with him, and then around 7:15, I do the basketball part.
At night.
Yeah.
So when you're with the other guy, what's that? Is that training him or is that
No,
just?
like, so I put him through something while he's training, I train.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I do a little basketball training in the morning after lifting, and like I'll do the hard part by myself, and then when I'm with him, so I can focus on him also.
Yeah.
That's when I mainly do ball handling because I can focus on him while I'm doing ball handling.
And this is in Germany or here also?
Here, so
That's
during the summer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're playing 5 hours. The 5 hours that includes the lifting part too? Or
Yeah. So I lift for about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's lifting including cardio.
And then it, like I said, basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of it's probably just is it by yourself most of the time?
Yeah. Sometimes like if Anthony Hodge comes and visit because he's from New York City, so if he comes and visit, I'll work out with him, or I work out with a couple of the college guys that are freshmen going into their sophomore year.
At Plattsburgh.
No, the one, his name is Parker. I don't know his last name. He plays at Potsdam.
Okay.
And then another one's named Solomon. I don't know his last name, and he plays at New Paltz.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Local guys though.
Yeah.
So when you're doing, and again, this is at a different level. When you're talking to someone playing, basketball full time. Like when you're doing training and drills and stuff. I mean, are you like you focusing more on ball handling, more on shooting? Your shot's gotten really good.
Yeah, I shoot. Honestly, I work on my left hand. I barely touch the ball with my right hand, and I just shoot as much. So as much as I can.
Are you doing like a lot of? Well, I'm guessing too. So like we used to back in the day, you just get the ball and shoot. But I'm guessing you're running off and trying to do catch and release and doing off balance and things.
Yeah, so because the offense I've been playing in, I have to come off screens, or a lot of it's pick and roll. So I got to shoot off the dribble, which is a problem. But mainly pick and roll stuff.
So do you think right now you're the best basketball you've ever been playing?
I would say 2 years ago.
Was your peak?
Yeah, I got hurt the last year or two, so I'm trying to get back to where I was.
What's at what point? Because again, I always look at when you were. I'm going back to high school. This is the last time I played with you. I remember you obviously were a good player all the way through. I feel like your senior year, my junior year, that you were just like you had just like tapped into like another gear.
Yeah.
Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
And then since then how many like level ups have you think you've risen through?
It's like if you saw a tape of me play at high school and then a tape now, it's two different people.
Yeah.
So like,
and you can tell that as you're going along, things feel easier.
Like I sent, it's kind of funny. I sent a tape to Jacob Cummings. Do you remember him?
I remember the name. Yeah,
he was
a KZ guy, right?
Yeah, I think he was 3 years ahead of us. Mm-hmm. I sent him a tape and he noticed. He's like, "Oh, you go left most of the time," because in high school I couldn't dribble with my left hand. So like he already noticed the difference between then and now.
So you're comfortable with both hands.
Yeah.
Now, where do you play? Like, are you guys playing more like zone or man to man on defense?
No, we play man. We'll play zone like to get a breather.
Can you play zone though?
Yeah.
Because isn't like NBA.
No, but they don't teach zone in Europe. They play strictly man.
Yeah.
But like if our coach doesn't really want to sub, if he'll just have us go zone for a breather.
Just kind of lay off some guys.
Yeah.
So living in Germany, what's the most fun about being in Europe?
Nobody knows you.
You like that?
Yeah.
Mr. Talkative, you just said if you came in.
Yeah, nobody knows you, and it's just like it's like a fresh start, like so if you can be yourself, so to speak.
Yeah. Now, how many players are on the team with you?
10 or 12.
Is it
12? Yeah, 12.
How often does that change year to year?
Yeah, it's always between 9 and 12.
But I mean, like the same guys that are playing.
No, it's like so I played for this team 3 years, and this year I only knew 2 people from the previous years.
So it's quite a bit of turnover.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you've just stayed steady for years. So
yeah.
are you the captain of the team?
This year I was.
Okay.
The other 2 years I wasn't.
So how did this year stack up versus the other years? You said you're kind of coming off injury.
Yeah. We had the best team in our league, but we couldn't get it going, and partly because I got hurt. So this year's team wasn't as good as my first year. Second year we were good. My first year we were the best team, but we just found ways to lose games.
Do you what's the actual league? Like what level would you consider the league? Like a European basketball standpoint?
It's in the 4th league, which is about, I don't really know because they play different basketball.
So it's kind of like the EPL where you have the EPL and you have yeah.
So like in the baseball, like it would be
like single double somewhere in that range.
Double it's AAA and then the league
in the league, yeah.
Yeah, so double A.
Double A. Okay, so you're up there.
So
now how often do you see a lot of transfers with guys going up into that next level, guys dropping down, so it's kind of like back and forth depending.
That's actually what I was explaining to. I'm in talks with teams from the 2nd and 3rd league.
Oh, okay, so you're moving up, in the 3rd league being like their highest league.
No, the highest league is the 1st league, which is called the BBL, which is like where Dirk came from. He played in that that's their NBA.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, but at this age, it would be hard for me to get there. But if it was like 4 years ago, I could have had a chance because I work out with those guys.
And what's the difference? I mean, is it age mostly? You think?
Yeah,
like
pretty
it's a guy,
much.
like a guy that you work out with that's in the top level and you're working out with them. Like, what do you think the difference between you and someone like that would be?
Them just being around that type of skill level, more consistent.
Like just for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think if had you not played at a small town in upstate New York, I mean, had you been maybe down in the city or somewhere, do you think that you would have just
easily?
Yeah.
Because I caught on to everything later than everybody else would have,
Yeah.
So like when I was 26, I started to see top level talent when these guys are playing from 15. You know what I mean?
Now has the transition been easy though from from league to league?
Yeah. So the first year it was hard because I had to learn like in this area of Plattsburgh they don't teach us like pick and rolls and this and that, and in Europe everything's pick and roll. So I had to do a lot of like watching Chris Paul, like learning the game myself because I wasn't taught how to like put people in a box, like meaning coming off a screen and keeping the defender behind you, so it's like a box. You know, I had to learn all that, and then I had to learn the Euro pass, which is like over your head. Instead of normally you make a chest pass, but if you're going into the paint, you would throw it over your head to the corner off the bounce. Instead of two hands, it would be one hand.
Just a quicker movement.
Yeah.
In Europe, they play the paint's wider, right? Don't they have?
No, they changed all. It's
standard.
same.
Not
Yeah,
standard, but
it's American basketball setting.
So and that's was it? Is it FIBA? Is that
FIBA?
FIBA? Is
Yeah.
it, so that's the standard now. Is this normal key we'd see like in the NBA?
Yeah. The only difference is there's no defense at 3 seconds. In the NBA, there's defense at 3. But even for us, college and high school, there's none. Yeah.
So that's the only thing between European basketball.
Yeah.
So what you play and what the highest league plays is the same.
Yeah, we have all the same rules. It's just different leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I remember watching European basketball. Like I know, what's the top countries over there? Because like Lithuania is always really good, and then you get guys that play like Germany. Obviously, like Dirk played there, so or from there. How does it differ? Because you said you went to Spain. Like, how does it stack up from league to league?
So like Spain, the league there is up and down. So it was more like being at home. Just get the ball, go.
Okay.
In Germany, it's run the play, run the shot clock down to 10 seconds. Instead of shooting the first shot, they want you to shoot the third shot. You know what I mean?
So the games are a little bit lower scoring, less possessions.
Yeah.
What do you preference though?
At this stage of my career, I like Germany. Like I like to.
Because it slows the game down a bit for you.
Yeah. But I can still play up and down, but just
probably beat you up a little bit more.
Yeah.
How many games do you play in a season?
So we play. It's hard to explain. So we play 18 league games, but we play other teams throughout the week. So they make it. So they make it Saturdays. We play our league games, and then during the week we play other leagues. So like this past season, I probably played 60 games. 50.
And it doesn't include playoffs or anything? They
don't have playoffs. So the first team to win the division, whoever comes in first place, you go to the next league.
So it is like EPL. There's promotions and relegations?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah.
And how many teams in the league?
14. And
it's only the top one that gets up?
Yep.
Okay. So, there's something to play for.
So every game is a playoff game.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's it's weird. I mean, I think that's one of the in pro sports because we don't have. I mean, obviously we don't have that, in the States. But like EPL, that's the best thing I think because you kind of just start, giving people opportunity. But you can move from it's hard, but the lowest league all the way up.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like basketball and stuff, as you've evolved as a player, how has your game changed? Or maybe the style that you played, let's say high school into college versus where you are now.
I would say I was a lot more flashy in high school and college because I didn't really know what I was doing. So whatever I saw, like at the time, if you remember N1 mixtape.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually where I learned how to play basketball. So
Hot Sauce and Escalade and all that.
Yeah. So I just copied what I saw until I got to, I want to say my junior year. That's when my game kind of changed into more organized.
Tightened up a bit.
Yeah.
Was that after you broke your leg?
Yep.
Did that kind of keep you? Did that change perspective on how to play, or is that just
No.
maybe just maturity wise?
Honestly watching other point guards playing against other point guards, coaches telling me to slow down. So
probably more about efficiency.
Yep.
Because I remember. Again, I'm going off of the one season I played with you, but I think the thing that I would say probably the three things that I noticed the most on the court. One, defensively, you were by far the best player in the area without a doubt. And I mean, just rebounding for a guy that's not 5'11", you're rebounding. I'm giving him shit here. So side note here. So I looked him up. I'm like, I know some stuff about you, but then I'm like, did you enter the NBA draft, or was there something you had to put? 2013 NBA entry draft?
I didn't do that.
Okay. It looked good though. So, but it said you are 5'11", 200 pounds.
I don't know. Where'd you find that?
I don't know. Unless there's, but it had like legit had some other stuff. It said high school, Plattsburgh High School. So I think this might have been, this is kind of butchered up. But I just want to give you crap about 5'11". But no, but for a guy that wasn't, a forward or a center or anything like that. I mean, you played. I remember you played low in the 2-3, and you were one of the top rebounders on the team, considering you weren't in the best position all the time to get it. Like, you could box out, but I think the thing I remember is you could box people out, but you also were able to turn very quickly and go from defensive end to the offensive end. And obviously, I mean, I'm taking your rebounding and your steals as defensive, and then you were able to transition very fast going forward. And I think the thing that there's two players that I ever played with that controlled the pace of a game in all the sports I played, you in basketball and Jordan Spiegel when he was center midfield in soccer. Yeah. And Jordan after you had graduated. Because Jacob. Not Jordan. Love Jordan, but Jordan wasn't he wasn't running the middle of the game. But Jake, I remember, could do that with soccer, where if Jake wanted the game to go faster, everybody would go faster based on his speed. And I felt like you did that in basketball. Like, you single-handedly could slow down 9 other players on the court. You could speed them all up. And I think that a lot of people, even people that, I mean, everybody that played us knew who you were, but I mean, I think everybody even looked at you as like with so much respect and admiration of like, okay, that guy by far is the best player on the court. And that guy, if he's slowing down, we should probably slow down and speed up and things. And I don't know, did you feel that on the court, or did you feel that you had that pull on the court, or was that just something just by the byproduct of what you did just happened?
In high school, honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing, and some days I felt like, okay, nobody on the court was as fast as me. Let me just play at a faster pace. Or, okay, I noticed they're playing this type of defense. Let me slow down and find my lanes to get to the basket. Because I wasn't shooting that much in high school. Yeah, I was just always attacking, So
I was gonna say I mean, between assists, rebounds, and steals. I mean, you scored a decent amount, but you weren't putting up 20-something a game. You might have, like 10, 15 a game, but you would have...
My senior year, I finished with 18 or 17.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
But you had all the other stat lines there. I mean, you were just all around, did so much. Still to this day, out of any sport I've ever played, the fact you didn't win MVP that year still bothers me. Yeah. I think it was political.
Yeah.
But there's no way you can tell me that you weren't the best player in the league and the most valuable, because if we didn't have you,
I'll never forget, they gave it to Joe Hutton from E-Town.
Who was a great player, but he wasn't. You don't have to be. I'm saying he was.
If you didn't have him on the team, they were still a good team.
They were still good, exactly. That was. You don't have to give it to the best player on the best team. I said you got to give it to the best player in the league, who was the most valuable, which is the award. So, but I remember. I mean, to me that year we go from and what were we? I wasn't on the team the year before, but we were never historically good. But they were maybe third or fourth or fifth in the league, maybe. So
my junior year,
4th or 5th in the league.
Yeah, my junior year we were about. No, I want to say we were like 6th or 7th.
It was rough there.
We lost to Bolton in the first round because Matt Devins was our coach. I remember
previous years.
Yeah. So no, it was my first 3 years was Norcross. My junior year was Matt Devins, which was his first time coaching.
Yep.
And we lost to Bolton. And then my senior year was Rob Guerin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what he did. I don't know. His system just worked for the players he had.
Yeah.
And I think we went 25-2. I don't know.
We were good.
Yeah.
We I think we lost 3 games. We lost to E-Town twice, and then we lost to Chateauguay.
Oh yeah.
But we had beat all those.
We lost to Chateauguay in the regionals.
But we had beat them earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And honestly, that game. The thing that kills me the most that game, because obviously our biggest win was the sectional finals game in my eyes, but I would say actually Chateauguay at home was huge because we just don't lose
That's when that game, and I don't know if you remember, we played NCCS in a closed scrimmage.
Yeah.
And we beat them by 25.
Yeah.
And that's when the season turned. We're we are good.
Because we were beating up the big teams that typically would trounce us.
We beat Seton that year, which is a big team for us.
We beat them twice that year.
Yeah. So
and I think we
beat Beekmantown that year.
Yep. Yeah, and Beekmantown was good because I think they went to the sectional finals.
Yeah.
And I remember the E-Town winning that, which was cool. That's actually online if you want to watch it.
The sectional game?
Yeah, the finals.
Okay.
I'll send you the link if I can find it.
Okay.
But so it was that, but then we ended up. I remember we ended up playing. Was it the Tournament of Champions?
Yeah, we beat Seton pretty bad.
And
then PHS,
at the Fieldhouse.
PHS beat us really bad.
But we had to go to the field. Yeah, but if you remember the field, we had to go play PHS at PHS because the field house, we couldn't play there for some reason. And we were down 1 at halftime, which I think literally was just you. It was basically PHS was up on Corey Lewis by 1 point because you like.
That was one of my better games, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say you like sold out that game. And I mean, you kept it in the game and then just got to the point where,
I remember in the second half, they just pressed us. And they put 2 on me and had Corey Ellis bring out the ball.
Yeah,
it was.
We just got outmanned at that. I mean, but again, they made adjustments, and we were kind of playing only one. You could really only because they were.
They were good. Yeah, they should have
good.
won states that year. I was actually, people don't know, I was supposed to transfer that year to PHS.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that.
So I was supposed to go there. I was really good friends with all of them, and they felt like they were missing one player because I don't know if you remember, Tori Bouye was their best player, but they also had 4 really, really good players around him.
I remember Matt Huey.
Yeah, but that was a young Matt Huey.
Yeah, you're right. I actually ran into Matt. He came back to the area. I don't know Matt well. Yeah. And I remember meeting him, and I was like, he told me the name, and as soon as he said it clicked, because I hadn't seen him in years.
Yeah.
Super nice guy, but he was a big guy. Franklin.
Yep.
How old was he at the time?
Senior. So
it was senior.
Yeah. It was Matt Huey. I believe he was either he had to be a sophomore, I think. And then Tori was a senior. Franklin was a senior. Joey Reef was a senior. Yep. Justin Mahan. I don't know if you know him.
Yes. I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a senior. They had Pat Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
He was a freshman, I think. Sophomore, freshman.
No, Pat's my age. Pat would have been
sophomore,
a
junior. Okay.
Yeah.
So they had a legit team, So
yeah.
Josh Murchison, do you know him?
Yeah. I mean, I remember the name of the guys, but they were by far the best team in the area. But I mean, had you played with them, I mean, you guys wouldn't have been touched.
Yeah. So I was like, that was actually my close group of friends because I lived in Plattsburgh.
Yeah.
So from 9th grade up, I lived in Plattsburgh. Yeah. So I met them from AAU basketball and just being around Plattsburgh. And I grew up pretty much with them and became really close friends. So my senior year, they're like, "Why don't you come here?" Because it
made sense. You were in soccer.
Yeah,
so.
Joey and Josh Murchison were my really 2 close friends, and they were always like, "Just come here. Like, you would fit right in with us."
Yeah.
And I was gonna go there, but
who was the coach for PHS? Same guy is now or different?
Yeah. What's his name? Hartman.
That's it. Yeah. But I remember after that, we played Chateauguay.
Yep.
By far, when I would say we started to get better, by far the worst game from when we kind of started to click till the end of the season. I thought it was the worst game.
No, the worst half we had.
Worst half, yeah, correct.
Yeah, because the second half we were perfectly fine.
We actually outplayed them in the second half.
It was the first half we just couldn't catch up.
And it was just with missed shots, easy things. I remember a couple of the. Kenny and Andy, I remember they had a couple just like point blank shots that they've been making all year, and it's like, how are these like? And it was just, which was frustrating. But I remember the next day that Chateauguay beat the team by 20, and whoever was in the regional finals, and then I remember they went to. I distinctly remember you saying we walked into school. We were in the parking lot, and I remember getting out of my car to walk in. You go walking by me, and all you said to me was, "We should be in Glens Falls today," and you just kept walking because that was the Final Four. And that was the week later, and they ended up winning, and they smashed somebody in the semifinals, and then they got smashed in the finals.
You know, it's funny. So the team they lost to in the finals in the state championship, back then people were telling me we matched up perfect with that team and we could have beat them.
Was it the Finney teams?
I have no idea, but
I think it was CG Finney. I'd have to look back, but realistically, we were, let's say, 2 points away from potentially state championship game or state champions.
I missed 2 free throws that day, and till this day, it still haunts me.
In the regional finals?
It's against Chateauguay.
Or regional semis?
Yeah.
But I think it's just all the culmination of just those easy missed shots. 'Cause I think we were the better team. It's just we just couldn't put the ball in that day.
I think the moment was too big. Not for us, like, because soccer, we're always in that moment. Yeah. But, like, the other guys that just play basketball, they've never been there.
I agree.
You know? So, because, like you said, the biggest win was the sectional. We wasn't supposed to win sectionals. Yeah. You know? E-Town had our number.
And Westport beat us that year, too, I think.
Oh, yeah.
In Westport, yeah. Well, full disclosure on that. I think for some reason, somebody, I think it might have been Ellis, who was disciplined or something, so I had to play. and I played awful that game, awful. And I remember it was one of those games where I remember playing, and at the end of the game, because we were a good team. If you're a bad team, you don't care. But if you're a good team, you're like, I think I single-handedly lost us that game. And it's just I couldn't do anything. I missed so many shots. There's only a few games I ever played like in my career where I was like, I was probably the reason we lost that, and that was one of the games. It didn't matter at the end of the day, but that was like, I remember thinking, I was like, God, that sucked. And then we ended up, I remember we played E-Town at our home gym. It was the first time. If you remember back in the day, they used to open up both sides of the bleachers. It's at Shea Z. And then they started to get away from opening both sides because there wasn't enough people. So they just like lined up chairs. And I remember when we had to play E-Town at home.
It was packed.
It was packed. And they put out both bleachers. The first time they did it all year. And there was people standing in the hallways to watch the game. And it was the first time, because I mean, you way more than I was. I wasn't in like the basketball ecosystem. Like I didn't realize like big games, like everybody comes to them. And so there was people from traveling all around to come watch this game, like people that had no ties to either team. And that was the first time I was like, oh shit, like this is getting legit. And I remember, I will never forget this. It was the highlight of because again, I think Ellis was disciplined that day. And I remember you dribbled the ball, it was 0-0, start of the game, I was starting, and you kicked it off to me on the left, it was on the wing, it was like kind of...
the elbow?
It was kind of the elbow extended. And I remember shooting.
It was going towards the parking lot on the left side of the court.
Yeah, your memory kills me. Yes, exactly. Same. So I'm not lying. It's actually legit. So I remember catching it. Guy was kind of coming out at me, and I shot it over him, nothing but net, and we went up 3-0. And
I think that was the last time we had the lead.
And that was probably the last time I had the lead because that was also I played like crap the rest of the game. And but I just remember that game being huge, and I ended up hitting that first shot, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have hit that shot. You know what I mean? Like I was like, you were nervous because there were so many people, but it was also like I wasn't a basketball player. You know, we just were. You know, by default, you had to play sports. So, so going back, we'll go forward a little bit here in a moment. But when you were going through, basketball was always your first sport, right? Was it soccer?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Because I would have. So when do you think you made the transition from soccer?
College.
To that became like your deal.
Yeah. I stopped liking soccer because I kept getting injured, and I felt I could have made it pro in soccer, but I just kept getting hurt.
Soccer by far was even better than basketball.
Yeah.
Because I think the difference was like you were a fantastic soccer player, but you also played with a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
Where basketball, you were just so far above everybody else that it was just kind of like, there's some other good players, but like you definitely separated yourself on the basketball court. Where soccer, you were in the upper echelon with a few other guys that were really good that you could say like Nolan or Spiegel, that there's some good guys. But so from a soccer standpoint, you played in what, 2 state championship games?
Yeah. 4 Final Fours, 2 state champions.
And then I remember, as a kid, I remember there was you might have been like, I wasn't on the team yet. I want to say you were maybe a freshman. You started in 8th grade?
No, a freshman.
So you're a freshman, you were down in Colony. And I remember
I scored 2 goals.
Yeah, no, I remember you had 1 or 2 headers. Were they both headers?
No,
or
one was header. It was
because you scored going towards the school. I remember you just like jump up in a crowd of people and
it was near post header, and then the header was far post. The second goal was off my foot near post.
I remember the header. You went up through a crowd of people and headed it in. Yeah, and I was, like I said, I was younger at the time, but that was a team that was not very good.
Yeah, we wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, that was like I think out of all the years, and I'd love to hear Rob's perspective on that, but I would probably say that year, and then the 2009 team was another team that shouldn't have. They won the state championship that year. And that was Brandon Lauren was like a freshman, I think, at the time, and they shouldn't have. I mean, I say shouldn't have won. They won it, but when you have a team that's not great and you just claw for every victory, and that was the year. But so that was 2002?
4 or 2002 was and then 2003 that was Joel Lauren's senior year.
Yeah, and that was when you guys lost to Edmonston, right?
Yeah, and we were supposed to win it that year because that was the only game we went 22-1.
Yeah,
we were supposed to win it that year, and then the year after we won it.
And you lost in overtime.
Yeah,
against Edmonston.
Yeah, they only had one shot, and that shot went in.
And I remember that was when was it Josh missed the PK in that one?
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember he hit it wide right, I think,
Yep.
and it just
On the far end, yeah.
yeah, and then so then the following year, 2004,
We played
who's in the
SS Seward. Is that how you?
yeah, well that was when you broke your leg.
Yep. Yep.
And then the finals was against oh my god,
I forget.
I know, I don't know how.
I just know Nolan played amazing.
Yeah.
That day.
Who the hell did you? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on that. Who the team was? But Seward was a stacked team.
Yeah.
And I just
They were better than the final team.
yes, yeah, by far. And I remember I remember you like what was the final of that? Was it 2-1?
Against Seward?
It was 2-1 because Eric Ashline scored.
The Seward game?
Yeah.
I thought it was 2-0.
Was it 2-0?
I think so.
It could have been because I remember Eric Ashline scored. Who again? Eric
Yeah, it was
not-
2-0 because I remember. I never forget. It's gonna sound crazy. It was 7 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock left of the game, and coach had my sub coming in for the rest of the game to get ready for the next day. 50-50 ball, and that's when I broke my leg.
I remember like it was. I mean, I remember. I mean, it was probably worse obviously you being there, but I remember hearing it. I remember you were on the near side on the like.
Yeah, next
you were
to
like
the crowd.
You were near the crowd, but on the right half of the field from the crowd. And I remember that happening. And I remember Rob putting like the guy. I forgot who it was, but it was literally on the sideline waiting for the ball to go out, and it just like, yeah, that was rough. And I just remember because you were out the whole year.
Yep.
In all
And
sports.
I was wearing. Remember at the time, everybody started wearing the small shin guards.
Yeah.
So I had it
Yours
like,
was like a deck of cards.
yeah. So right below my knee. So I wasn't really wearing shin guards, So
That's crazy. So you went to the. I mean, obviously you went to the hospital down there that night.
Yeah.
You were on the sideline the next day.
I was really, really drugged up.
I was gonna say.
I forgot what they gave me, but I don't really remember. The reason why I know Nolan played so well, I watched the tape.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I don't.
I just remember you being wheeled up and you were like on the. I think you were like kind of in the center, like they kind of rolled you out there. I was like, which sucked, but because you were the MVP of the league that year.
Yeah.
What God? I can't. I don't know how I can't think of the team we beat. It's gonna
me
bother
either.
me. Like I probably know every other team, but who we won the first one. I just remember Seymour put a return cross in.
Yep.
Remember off the corner, it came right back to him.
Yeah.
And then Nolan went up and scored, and then the following year, that was the 24-0 team.
Yep. That's when Fillmore scored on us first.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we've ever been down that year.
It was only the third goal of the year too.
Yep.
Scored. So I remember that game because I got moved up at the end of our season, like from JV at the end of the season, because it was a team like I probably moved up as a decent player, and I was probably like 18th on the team of just players.
That year, I don't care what Coach McAuliffe says, that was the best team ever to go through Shazy.
I think you would agree.
1 through 18, best team by far.
Yeah. I
Practice was harder than the games that year.
100%. I remember the first time I moved up, we had practice, and again, our season ended. Rob pulled me and a couple guys up, and I remember getting put in. We had like the small possession games, which weren't a big deal because I was with the scrub kind of side, But then I remember we ended up opening it up, and you play a full field. I can still remember to this day Justin Seymour coming, and again, Justin weighed about 10 pounds soaking wet, and I remember he went and just like. He kind of pushed me off the ball, and I remember he like grabbed me, and I had a big scratch mark down my arm. And this was literally like 3 minutes into the scrimmage, and I was like, "Oh, this is just another level." Yeah. And this was practice. This was like a random practice in like mid to late October on like say a Tuesday at Shazy.
And the best part about Rob was he knew what he was doing. Like one day he would put me versus Nolan, and it would just get crazy that day, me and Nolan going at it, or Nolan and Seymour, or me and Jacob.
Yeah.
And which was bad for the opponent because we were tired of each other. We had to take it out on somebody.
Yeah.
So we were winning 15-0 and 12-0.
It was not a fair fight, and I remember.
And then Stetson, people forget he was
amazing.
He was our question mark. Nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he was
Lit
phenomenal.
it up. So Stetson was young at the time.
He was a freshman.
Yeah,
because he was probably our fourth best player.
Yeah, and I don't know how much you followed once you left. So Stetson played with some. So the following year, I think Stetson. What did I don't remember what Stetson played as soft. He might have still been on the outside because Spiegel and
No,
Baker were in the middle.
He went to up front with Nolan.
His sophomore year?
Yeah, because remember Seymour graduated.
You're right, because then junior year, which is my senior year, he was center midfield. And then, so I'll remember this about Stetson. Have you seen Stetson at all? I last time I saw Stetson was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I remember.
I heard he went back to Oklahoma.
Was that where he went to?
That's what I was told.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. I'd love to see him. I mean, I got along good with him, but he. So I remember Stetson when the year I graduated. I went back and watched a summer league game when I was going into college. Stetson, I don't know what the heck happened. The kid, I think he just got like 10x all his skill level in about 6 or 8 months. Because I remember he got the ball, and there was one time I remember he just got the ball, turned on a kid in our half at summer league, beat almost every single kid, and then with the ball in his foot was running away from the defenders chasing him, and just scored. Yeah. And I remember watching them, like, this kid's on another level, and then him and Jason basically brought that team back to the finals. Yeah. But Stetson's his senior year, because he was very good our junior year. Yeah. His senior year, he was another player.
Yeah, he was. It wasn't fair.
No, and he the only time I've ever seen. Again, I'm going back. I've been out of the game for probably 5 years now, but the only time I've seen players in their senior year where you just knew they were they were just better than the league they were playing in. I would argue you, Jake Spiegel, and Nolan in those subsequent years. Seymour too.
His senior year, he was totally different from junior, sophomore.
Because the hard part is when you take like the 2005, like that class, give or take a couple of years, there was almost too many good players to even categorize people, because they were it was like you kept just refilling good players, and we haven't seen it since then. We've had some good players, but not that dominant year over year. But those guys, and then when you went forward, Stetson and Baker were another league, and then Brandon Lauren and Nathan Reynolds, their senior years, same thing. It was it wasn't a fair fight, and and I think,
who people didn't really care too much for him, but he could have been extremely good, was Corey Ellis, but he wasn't disciplined at the time.
I honestly think Corey. He actually messaged me a couple months ago. Have you talked to him recently?
Last time I talked to him was 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, he's into running a lot right now. But Corey was one of those kids. Like, sometimes was his own worst enemy. All the skill in the world, and I think the hard thing, because I graduated with him, and I played sports with Corey since I was a little kid, and he was always one of those guys when you can just recognize a player. Like, he was one, he had to just sometimes just let shit out, and then you had to. And luckily for me, I wasn't a very confrontational person. For some reason at a young age, I recognized it. It was almost like, let him just spew it, let him take out his anger on you or teammates or whatever, and then just know you're getting a better version of him after he does it. And I think because when he stepped up and had when he was on, he was, even in basketball, he was good. Yeah. And I think like I said, I think he was I don't think he maxed out his potential a lot, but I think he was a very good player. But yeah, because he could do some stuff. But again, I think the other issue is when you play with the teams that you were playing with, you could be a very good player, but you're being overshadowed by phenomenal players.
That was what I was going to say. He was very good, but no disrespect, you're not Nolan or Seymour or Stetson. You know what I mean? And they played the same position.
Well, you're talking all-time players there, and they happen just all to fall in the same chronological order. And I think that's what people don't get. And I love, again, when I was coaching with Rob years after, I love the kids, I love the boys that were playing, but when they would say I think this is the best team. No. I said if you want, we'll find some tape. But I said if you want to watch the 2005 team was the number one team. I think that, and I actually want to hear your opinion on this. I think the next best team we ever had, it's a tie. It's 2006 that we lost in the sectional.
We would have beat that team by 8 goals.
2005 would.
Yeah.
No, 2005 was in the class of itself.
No, I'm saying that next year they were supposed to win the state championship.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened in the section. I was there, but I don't.
Section final.
I don't.
Well, the problem was we had some suspensions, we had some issues, we had some injuries.
The main thing was Casey Chomley getting hurt.
Yeah, because I had to go in for him.
That was the main thing. That once he pretty much blew out his knee, we didn't have a sub for him.
No, because he went out. Kenny went to the stopper, and I got thrown in.
And then Nolan went back to center mid.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize is that, and again, you were just trying to fill in the gaps there, and we were up, I think, 1-0 late. They scored, and they scored 2 late goals. And
I'm sorry. Coach put Stetson center mid. Then they went up 2-1. He tried to put Nolan back to center mid, and it was too late.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
he was playing more
because
defensive.
Jason didn't play that game.
Yeah, he was just trying to. Once we went up 1-0, he was just trying to get out of that game.
Yeah, because the thing is, E-Town was good that year.
Yeah,
they had some stacked players. I mean, that was and that was the issue when you played, especially a team that played you through. Because we had beat them twice during the year, and like when you start to play a team, same thing with basketball. That same year, it's like you had their number. They knew what your weakness could be. And it just got to the point, it was a perfect storm. We had some internal issues that day, and then we ended up, like I said, you're playing against a team that knows how to play you. And I think at the time was ranked in the top 5 or 4 in the state. We were 1, obviously, but they were by far the toughest team we had played all year. And
because you have to think about it, people don't realize that team was the same team from 05. So
their team was,
you're
right.
So they were just waiting for us.
Well, the thing that we lucked out when after 05, because 05 was a pretty young team.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you, Seymour, Sean.
Kenny Boyer.
But Kenny was younger. Kenny was a senior, though. Sorry, 05.
Yeah, he started, though.
No, he started, but I'm saying you're talking like an overall. In 2005, we didn't have a lot of seniors that played.
No.
So it was a fairly we had a fairly young team, but again, a lot of those other teams, their top people were juniors.
Yeah.
So we had like 2 really good junior classes that played, and then there's we had obviously Nolan and Kyle and a couple guys like in my grade, but that was just, I think your 04, 5, 6, 7 years where you won 3 out of 4 and really should have or even 4 out of 4 were like the dynasty part of Shazy, and then we had a few other. I mean, we've had teams since, and there was a couple back-to-backs, but the 12 team was good, which was Brandon and Nathan's senior year, and that was a team that had the firepower from an offensive end. I mean, what you think about it? I would love. I don't even know what those numbers were. We scored 160 in 05. I think they had a high scoring year at like 120.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it was just like you said, it's just a different level.
Yeah.
And also since the leagues got changed around, I think the boys now play consistently harder teams, but I don't think you're playing the E-Town, the Westport, and the Willsboro, because you played those three teams back like when you played, and they started to tail off a little bit after I got out, but just because of size of school and stuff, they were good back then.
Yeah, and I think some of the schools emerged. I think.
Well, Westport and E-Town merged, which is insane. But back then they had 2 really good teams, and because I remember Westport wasn't a bad team, especially when you played at Westport.
Yeah,
they played tough, and I think
There's one team that people don't talk about enough is the 2000 team.
The 2000?
Yeah, they lost to Willsboro in the section.
Yeah.
They were supposed to win the states that year, but
they were undefeated at the time.
I would have loved to play that team with our 05 team.
I think you're right, because that was Adam Trombley was on that team, and Matt had graduated.
That's when I think Ian Lauren was a sophomore, but he was phenomenal.
Remember, there was Adam Trombley, Broussard,
Chris Bonnois or
Craig Bahar. No, wait. No, you're right. No, Craig was a senior. Damien.
Ian Brassard.
Yeah.
Aaron Lauren.
Aaron Lauren.
What's his name?
Josh
Karanzik. I can't even say his name.
Oh, Jeff Karanzik? Yeah. You played with Jeff, what, 1 or 2 years?
1 year. No, 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, Jeff was a stud, too.
Yeah.
And those were fun years. I mean, I don't know, because, again, the other issue is, too, you're a kid. Like, I mean, we were young watching those players, so you kind of have, like, this aura around these players at the time. But when and again, I had coached years after, so I kind of got to see a little bit more extended version of Shazy, and they were good. Yeah. But I still, to this day, out of all the soccer I've ever seen, the 2005 team was just a different level.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I was biased because I was like in that like time period, but I mean, there's a game on, if you YouTube it, Shazy Bolton. It was might have been the MVAC North game.
Okay. Or
the MVC North South game.
Oh, the championship game or whatever. Yeah.
I think I was on the bench. I was hanging out, but I think you guys ended up. I think you guys were up like
6-0 or something.
like
5-0.
quick,
Yeah.
like 15 to 20 minutes in. And I remember there was a couple good goals. There was one you went and I'm forgetting the names now, but you stepped on it and you twisted around. I forgot the name we used to call that. And you ended up doing this to the defender. The defender just like kind of spun and fell, and then you walked in and just rolled into the net. And I just remember it was like the smoothest thing ever to the point, and it was that Seymour had a great header. Nolan just like beating 5 guys and just scoring. And I just remember watching those teams. I'm like, it's just a different.
My favorite part of that year was when we would go up. Say,
pull it up. Keep talking.
If we were up like 6-7-0, Rob would want to sub us out. So we would the guys would be like, just hold the ball, hold possession. We would hold possession for like 30 minutes.
Well, that's what happened. Here, let me see if I can find this, because that's what happened as the game went along. It was like, and that's what people don't realize. Like, oh, it must have been nice because you had all your players. I'm like, the players played half the game.
Yeah,
like, they're winning 10-0, and they're playing half the game.
Yeah,
like,
people didn't realize that.
And I think that's what the let me see, Shazy. It was 2005.
That was probably the first year where we went into sectionals fresh.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I mean, just people were healthy.
Yeah.
God, I got to find this because it was one of those games that you just start watching, and it was again not a fair fight.
I remember I didn't even play in the first 2 rounds of sectionals because I hurt my groin
In 05?
Yeah, I hurt my groin, and Rob was just like rest because he.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, nothing against you, but you probably didn't need to play the first.
Yeah, but we were so stacked it didn't matter,
Well, God, where's? It'd be mad if I find. I'm good. Like I said, I'll text this to you too. But the problem is like all the stuff they had. A lot of these games are from like 2010, 11, 12, 13. Oh, here it is. So, there you are, number 9. So I think there's a goal right after this.
Yes.
This is Nolan. Yeah, he just. Oh, I'm trying to find the one that you have the. We'll leave it right here because I want to see. We'll see if you. I can't. Oh yeah, you're down here. Yeah, number 9. Was number 9? How'd you get stuck with 9? Was that? Did you pick it?
Craig had it, and he told me to wear it.
Craig Barnwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, like right there. Like, I mean, that's the thing. You're like barely watching this, and they've already scored a goal. But like, watch the sequence of events right here. Like, this is what people don't realize is like just at a high school level, like Nolan, like just holding that guy off. Like the game was just too easy.
Yeah.
And I gotta see the one I gotta find. Oh, it's 1-0. Okay, we're just gonna watch. We'll leave this on as we talk because there's one goal that will bring it up. I just want to see. Yeah, maybe you might remember, but so Craig Baharnwah had the number before you.
And he asked me to wear it, or I asked him if I could wear it.
He had graduated, and then you had it. So it's funny when I remember moving up. So I got moved up at the beginning of the season, or middle of the season, and I was number 20 for years, like all the way through number 20. So what happened was I remember going, and our first game up was the sectional. I think it was the sectional finals, or maybe the MVC North-South game, whatever it was. It was at Plattsburgh State, and for some reason
that was the MVAC championship game. We played Bolton.
Yeah, so that was a game I was supposed to move up, and that was like the first game I was going to be at. And what happened? I actually went to I went out to Notre Dame. We had tickets just to go out to a football game at the beginning of the season. I'm like, I'll be done this season. And then of course Rob moves me up, so I'm like, I remember telling him like, I want to, but I'm literally gonna be gone this next like couple days. So the game happened. So I didn't even have my jersey at the time. So I came back and it was like Monday, and you guys had won. And I remember having a stack of bags there, and number 20 was open. I was pumped because I'm like, nobody has it. I'll be able to get my number, and I'll have it on varsity. It'll be cool. Well, do you remember Nathan Racine?
Yep.
So Nathan goes in, and out of all the numbers, this is perfect. This is Nathan to a T. Grabs number 20. And I was like, you're not even 20. Like, out of all the ones, you grabbed my own number. And then I asked him, he goes, no, I don't. He goes, no, I want to be number 20 or whatever. I'm like, whatever. So then Rob ended up giving me number 24, which is great. And that's been my number ever since. But it's funny how you ended up like, just like these things happen with numbers that, like my wife was, do you know Gina?
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah. So, so she ended up getting, to me, she's the most competitive person I've ever met. And again, I've played with some competitive people, but she's just a nut. And she she liked number 1. Well, she got to a certain age, number 1 was taken, so she took 11 because it was 2 number 1s. Yeah. And that was it. That was the reason. I'm like, okay. So even to this day, that's been her number. But she, no, it was good. We went to, I think a goal comes. Oh, that's yeah. Sean, I don't think gets enough credit.
Yeah, he doesn't because of how good Jeff was. That's the only reason.
That, and then also the fact that you guys, I mean, just as a team, were so good defensively, but the amount of like big saves he made. Yeah. And I've never played goal. You played goalie at Copelskill, right?
Yeah, for like 2 games.
Oh, that's all. That's all it was.
Yeah, 2 games.
Did you guys win the national championship that year?
We got upset in the finals, and because the coach put me in goal.
You played in the championship game.
Our goalie got in trouble, something off the field. So the coach was like, "You played goalie earlier this season. We're gonna throw you in net."
What were you playing at the time?
Sweeper.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. Me and Jake was playing left back.
That's odd.
Yeah, because that year he recruited, I think it was 40 players, and 30 were center midfielders. Because his philosophy was, if you play in the middle, you can play anywhere.
Yeah, you just knew the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a broad strategy, but I don't think it's terrible. I mean, the thing was, I remember Jake a couple times. He would drop back and play sweeper just for like game was out of hand. He just played it, and Jake was good. He was good. I mean, he was good at defense. I mean, you were a good defender. I don't know if you were. I mean, you could play sweeper. You know, there's no issue with that. But I mean, you were always like I think one of the best defensive players ever at Shazy was Nolan.
You think so?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you gotta think about it. Like in the scheme of defense, it's you're trying to get the ball. Like offense, you have the ball. Defense, you take it. And like for a guy that would lose. I mean, not often, but if he lost the ball,
he would chase you down.
And take it from you. Yeah. So, I mean, just from a pure ability to defend and steal a ball back from somebody, like Nolan was in soccer from a defensive as like you were in basketball. Like
but also, Justin did that pretty well because he would get so mad that he lost the ball. But he was either getting the ball back or getting a yellow card.
So this is true, yes. But this was a thing though that people don't like. I don't think realize. At least the kids that I remember coaching and stuff. They would lose the ball and they would be like pissed and turn around and mope back. And I'm like, we just played at a time frame where you lost the ball, you got it back.
That was like disrespect. Like we felt we were that good that if you took it from us or we lost it, we had to get it back.
It was almost like you think you're better than we are. But I remember again that came from practice. I mean, how many times in practice this is when I moved up and I watched like just the intensity level of practice where. If you lost the ball, like, or you stole the ball, like, you almost didn't want to steal the ball from one of our best players because they were just going to come back and just trounce you, and or like I remember this, or get just like your Casey Trombley broke my shin guard one year. I ended up right here. No, it's coming up. Can you see it all right?
Yeah, I can see it.
I was gonna say because you go down here, you spin around some kid, and you literally just like walk it into the net.
Honestly, I don't remember this game at all. I remember winning.
The only reason. Well, Evan played well this year too.
Yeah,
remember Evan went in a lot. It was him and Stetson. They did a lot.
And also, Kyle LaFountain played really well too.
Yeah. And so Kyle, after not this year but 2 years later, ended up transferring as a sweeper. And so my senior year, he was sweeping. He was so good. Is this? I don't know why I got like a glare here. I keep thinking Seymour Giu, which is like the total, not even close. I think you, but see, from a weight perspective to strength perspective, I don't think anybody was pound for pound stronger than Seymour. Right here.
I don't remember that.
The kid just stood still. That's crazy. What were you, 17 there?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just too easy. What shoes were you wearing back then? Predators? You a Predator guy or were you Nike?
No, I was Adidas. I was wearing whatever the Beckhams were at the time.
Yeah. What do you wear for basketball now? Nike?
Yeah, Nike.
I feel like Nike over the last 15 years has just taken off. Yeah. Like it's just separated.
It's always been like that though. Like I always wear Nike playing basketball and Adidas in soccer because like I always felt like Adidas was soccer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. I typically always had like a Nike pair of shoes, but my Adidas were like my number one shoe, and then the other ones like practice, or they ended up being like just some my soft grounds. I remember being. I think I bought my Nike soft grounds purely because they're on sale. Yeah. But, like my regular ones were Adidas. Like you'd buy like the nice Predators with like the kangaroo leather and stuff. So, So now, going back to basketball, what's been like so kind of diving into more kind of like mindset wise, like what's kept you going all these years? 'Cause, I mean,
I haven't, in my mind, I haven't reached the potential I think I can. Like I've never been like, okay, I'm good. Like, like the elite NBA players know they're good. Like Kevin Durant, LeBron. I'm not saying I'm them, but they know like I'm the best player when I walk in the gym. To me, I don't think I've hit my full potential yet.
Do you feel that when you go out on a court? Like, do you have like the confidence that
No, I do have the confidence, but I'm still like my biggest critic, you
Yeah.
know? So like I said, 2 years ago, I felt that like, I'm like, I feel like I'm legit, and then I got hurt. So I've been trying to reach.
What was the injury 2 years ago?
I broke my foot.
Doing basketball?
Yeah, I did a move going to the basket, and I landed on somebody's foot, but my adrenaline was going. I didn't know, so I just kept playing that game out. And the next day, I woke up, I couldn't walk.
Was it broken near the ankle?
In the middle.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just come down like on a
I
odd
guess.
angle, I guess, or different pressure point?
I guess. Yeah.
Oh. How long? So what was the recovery on that?
Well, the trainer said it was a little bone. He was like, just take 2 weeks off, and you can keep playing. There's nothing you can do. So
Self-heal?
So I took 2 weeks off, came back. I still didn't feel right. I just kept playing, started taking painkillers, and I got healthy with like 2 games left of the season, 3 games.
How did that affect like how did it affect your dribble, explosiveness, your jumping?
No, my dribble was fine. Everything was fine. It was just explosiveness. I couldn't consistently blow by people like I normally do.
Yeah.
So
what about rebounding and stuff? I mean, just jumping?
I don't really rebound like I used to because
I'm guessing man to man, you're farther
everybody's 6'6" and up, So I don't need to rebound.
Are you the shortest guy in the league, or one of them?
One of them.
Yeah,
one of them.
What's your that too? I mean, I would classify you as being undersized when you play.
Very undersized.
So like, how do you think? Especially, well, one, I'd say you're undersized, but two, from an age perspective, and you're able to still compete. Like, what is the? You look at guys like that. I mean, you don't have. Arguably, like if I had to say, hey, give me your ideal attributes that you would have as a player, you're missing a few that other people would easily snatch up. So, well, how do you think you make up for that?
Just skill set, honestly. Skill set and learning the game. So I think like every game I go in, I'm probably the most skilled player because I have to be because of my size, and I have to think the game. So I have to and angles.
What about in spacing?
Yeah, spacing also.
I was going to say, you must be able to generate space, though, for shots and just for moving around. Do you think at some point, with your knowledge of the game, could you translate to a coach?
That's what I would like to do, which I'm trying to set up now. So in this part of my career, I still love the game. Like, I'm still obsessed. But I'm trying to find, like, a certain place in Europe to move there and become a coach.
Do you think... You said this before we came on, but you said now you talk... You talk too much?
Yeah.
So now going... Because I would have said, if you would have told me Lewis is going to coach professional basketball as like a 17-year-old, I'd been like, he knows the game, but like I said, I think it's the oral skills where I just thought he's going to be too quiet, but do you think that that's just something that you would have no issue translating into?
Like I'm slowly, I guess, growing into myself. So like communicating is not an issue anymore to me. When it used to be,
What's also, when you know something so well, it's just comfortable. Like you don't second guess yourself. And so I guess from again, a mindset perspective, because I know you kind of talk a lot about it. I see on social media a lot, just like positive self-talk or positive, like, do you find that just being like optimistic, having just the mindset just kind of propels you into doing stuff?
That, and growing up, I have a lot of negativity towards me. Like a lot of people, especially in Plattsburgh, don't think that I'm that good of a player, which is fine. But so my message is to the people that are doubting themselves. Like I may not know you, but I believe in your skill set. You know what I mean? Like you just got to put in the work.
Out of all the kids that I'm going by just what I've experienced. I think you more than any kid that I ever played with, I think got the most strong negativity towards you. And I think because the other thing is when you're good and people aren't good, their first idea is to shit on you because it's easy. It's easy to try to tear you down than try to like build up with you. And I think the problem was most people that didn't know you or didn't play with you, for whatever reason, just had this, that we just got to shit on this kid and just try to tear him down. And again, on the opposite side, like playing with you for so many years, I'm like, I don't know, Lewis was just good. Like he was good, but you were a good teammate. You were fun to be around. And I think that people didn't see was, they knew you're the best player, but it's so easy to attack the best player on the team. And I'm like, this guy works hard. He works hard. He knows the game. I said, he's a good teammate. And I said, when you look at, especially from both basketball and soccer, when you're playing with somebody that's good, but you can also elevate the people that are around you, like that's
what I've always,
a leader.
Yeah, I've always tried to do that. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember playing a couple of away games, between just cheap shots on you, between fans yelling stuff they shouldn't have yelled, like all just this crazy stuff that was like, I think you took it. I mean, I think you were just grown up. You know what I mean? I think you were just one of those kids. You just were mature, and you just like.
Honestly, I would have to give the credit to Rob McAuliffe, Tom Brandell, and Brian Norcross. They were always in my ear, explaining to me like, "This is going to happen. This is how you need to react." So from like 8th grade, they were always in my ear. So when it happened, I was already prepared for it.
Yeah, you did well because I'm like I remember some of the shit people were saying like either in the stands or on the court,
it was bad.
And it was like, but you're a kid, you're like, what the fuck, guys? Like,
and it was grown at the time. It was grown men. And I was 14 to 17.
Oh, absolutely. I remember, I won't name places, but there's a few places that I was like, I can't believe like adults are yelling this at a kid, right now. And I mean, I couldn't imagine a kid yelling this at kids or adults yelling to adults, let alone, someone that's 25 years younger than you. Yeah. My favorite one though, I remember being on the court and I forgot what team I think we were playing Bolton, and the kid came up to you, and this is your senior year. And again, you had played like 5 years at this point. And I think he said something, was trying to like, well, how old are you? Something like, he was trying to take a chirp at you. And you said old enough to be your dad. And I was like, and then you had said it like quiet. And I just started walking by and I was shaking my head. I'm like, oh God. And you just said it like straight face, walked straight by him, never even looked back. And I was like, that's it. I mean, there was some good stuff said, but I mean, it's just like little small things like that. And
I've always had that issue because I moved up so early. So by the time I got to a junior year, everybody thought I was like 24. But I moved up when I was 13. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, and the thing is, too, when you move up and you're an instant player, it wasn't like you just were kind of like a sideline player. Like, people knew you growing up, and like, this kid's still around it. I'm sure people felt that with Nolan, playing soccer. It's like, how is this kid like still playing soccer?
Because Nolan moved up his 8th grade. Yeah, his 8th grade.
Yeah, and it's like, and he's moving up and he's scoring goals as an 8th grader. It's like, what the heck? But no, I think that was one of the things that, like I said, obviously must have made you, I mean, giving you kind of that hard skin to keep doing what you're doing. Because now, how is it playing professional basketball? Because I mean, at this point, you're playing in like you don't know the people in the crowd. I'm sure like go to away games, they're just shitting on the team.
No, they know me.
Even away crowds though.
Yeah, it's crazy because they know me like by my full name, which threw me off because I'm looking like how do you know who I am? But
and this is away games too.
Yeah, because I played pretty well since I've been there. So people know who I am.
They just kind of follow you year to year.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at, I guess, travel schedule, how far do you guys travel in Germany? Is it pretty much around the country?
Yeah. So our closest game is like in the same city, which is a rival team. And then our furthest game is 4 hours.
Okay, so that's not terrible.
Yeah, 4 hours.
How big is, I'm just going to look up. Gießen. So
yeah.
I'm gonna keep.
It's the same size as Plattsburgh.
But like location wise, Gießen. Gotta phonetically spell it here. I'm not that smart, so I gotta. Okay, so north of Frankfurt, you said, right?
I think it's west of Frankfurt. No, west. Maybe east.
No, you're north right there.
Okay.
Luxembourg. Oh, that's another country. I was like, why is that a bigger writing? Munich. See, the thing is, with like this is a problem. I'm not getting the. No, that's not helping. Wow, Hamburg's way up there. Mm-hmm. Berlin. Oh, so you're. Do you go to Hamburg and Berlin at all?
No, they're in a different league. They have 4 different leagues.
So you kind of play regionally?
Yep. And then, like I said, during the week we'll play this league or that league.
Germany's a pretty big country.
Yeah.
So what part of the culture of Germany you like the best? Obviously, the quiet is something you like there, but
I just like how everybody's stress free and relaxed. Like
just slower pace.
Yeah, every day you would never know somebody had a problem in their life.
So I mean, just like, but again, you must be known in the city now, right?
Yeah.
So like when you go out, people do recognize you.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
No, because that means I've been in the same city too long.
So, and who's your roommate? You said
Chris Miller.
Is he's on the same team though?
Different team, same owner.
Same city?
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever played with him as a teammate? Sorry, I'm looking up.
No, I haven't. Because until you get to the second division, you can only have one American on the team. Once you get to the second division,
really?
Yeah.
Why is the reason that?
I have no idea.
Is it one per each nationality or just America?
No, just American.
Really? Is that their way of trying to like lessen the amount of players in the league?
I guess so, because they still want the Germans to play in the German league.
Gotcha. So it's primarily German.
Yeah. So like, out of the 14 teams, I'll say 8 have an American on their team.
Oh, so there's only 8 guys in the league then from US.
Yeah, 8, maybe 10.
Wow.
But some teams, American will be there for years, so now he has his German citizenship, so he plays as a German.
Gotcha. Have you gotten German citizenship?
No.
Do you plan on? I mean,
that's what I'm working on now.
So you will get that, you think?
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Okay. Can you be a dual citizen?
Yeah.
Do you have to denounce America when you do that? Like Canada, if they have to be American, they have to like denounce their citizenship and say they're not Canadian. Because you can get both, right?
Yeah.
You just say I'm still American and German.
Yep.
So, have you ever been on the Autobahn?
Yep.
How fun's that?
Crazy.
Like how fast do people actually go on that?
Like 160.
And that's just normal.
It's ridiculous. It's scary. Like, well, I'm used to it now, but like the first year I was there, I was riding with one of my teammates. I don't know where we were going, but we were in the Autobahn, and he was going, I think, 170. 150, 150, 170.
And just getting passed by people. That's crazy.
Because people bring their Ferraris out or Bugattis or whatever.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How many lanes is the Autobahn? Like 7? 6?
No, it was 3. So it was 1 fast lane and then 2 normal lanes.
So how fast do the normal lanes go? I mean, can you get in the Autobahn and go like 80?
Yeah, 80, maybe average 100.
That's still insane.
Yeah.
Like I've driven 100 in a car before and I was nervous. I was like, I can't drive this fast.
No, it's different. Like it doesn't feel like you're going fast. Like I don't know if their cars are like it feels different.
Well, how many cars around here can't even go 160?
Yeah, it just feels different, like. And they're like driving 160, looking at you, talking like nothing's going on.
That's why. So what's the main? I mean, main cars are BMW, Volkswagen.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Everybody there has really nice cars because like their style of living is so much different than ours.
Well, it's probably because they're all made there too. So it's like shipping and buying purposes. Like, like Volkswagen, we have a Volkswagen, we love it. Like it's just a good car, and but that's the same thing. It's like German. It's like the German engineering and everything else.
Yeah.
It's what they do well. That and probably beer and maybe a couple
beer
other
is
things.
That's
do you like the beer over there?
I don't drink beer
at all.
No, I've tried it just because.
Yeah, I don't remember you drinking a lot when you were younger.
So like we met these people and they gave us a tour. And they bought like every beer in Europe, and they gave us the background story to it, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you go to like the beer gardens there?
No, I don't have much time to do much.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're pretty disciplined with the training and sleeping. How?
Not. Yeah, I could be better at times, but
like in season you would be.
Yeah.
What do you get per night sleep wise? Are you 8? 9?
I try to do 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I find. Like when you get up to like that 9-hour mark, like you just feel like a different person.
Yeah.
Like it's odd. Like 8 feels great.
Yeah.
Like I'm starting to function very well off of 6 just with kids. But like, man, I remember when I was like 7, I was like, I feel tired. 8, I feel good. 9, I feel bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny how just a couple hours. I mean, even when you're playing though, you think about like how many professional athletes sleep well, and take a nap in the middle of the day. I mean, a lot of pro athletes probably sleep
I
10
was
to 12
taking
hours.
I was taking a nap, but it's because I have a hard time sleeping the night before games, so I have
Nerves.
to excitement.
Yeah.
So like, just want to be able to perform at a high level.
When's your game start, roughly?
7,
So night games?
7, 8:30. Sometimes 2.
So day game?
Yes,
Tune
but
in.
most of the time it's 7 or 8.
How's the atmosphere for games?
Good. Like,
Like crowds are good and people.
yeah, it's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, the worst crowd is our crowd.
Just attendance or just
Yeah.
enjoyment of the game?
Attendance.
Now, are you in well, it sounds like probably a small city compared to some of the places you play.
Yeah.
And being one of the better teams, you attract a following when you go to these games.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I've never played pro sports, but it'd be cool to like walk in and like people to know who you are and
Yeah.
you kind of expect this to be a cool game.
Yeah, it's something I never thought I would get to. So
Did you ever plan on as a kid? Did you ever think about that you'd play?
no.
I mean, like people don't think about it, but it's like
When I started thinking about pro was somebody mentioned it when I was playing at Koboskill, so we're playing in the playoffs. We're playing SUNY IT, and somebody was like, "Oh, these 2 guards are going to Europe to play," and I'm like, "To do what?" They're like, "Oh, you can play professional in Europe." I didn't know that at the time, and I outplayed both of them. I'm like, "Oh, I could do
so
it."
just like a light switch.
Yeah, I could do it, but I didn't take it serious. I just said, that day I played really well, so I thought I could do it, and like I said, got hurt and forgot about basketball.
But when the thing is too, you got to make just like it's your job, so you make a commitment to play.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the time and the like. How is your nutrition different now? Like, how do you
Before, I
focus on
would
that?
say I would eat a lot of like fast food before, and a lot of burgers and
Just convenient,
yeah,
quick.
it was just
Yeah.
chips, candy. Like I still
When
have
you first were a pro,
Oh yeah, even now, like I changed my diet. I want to say like 2018 midway, 2019, but
Yeah.
like 2016 when I first went pro, I was just doing what I've been doing my whole life.
do you guys eat or work with nutritionists at all? over
Yeah,
there?
they have. Yeah.
So like, what do you focus now on? Like, eating?
So mainly like I just have a protein shake with strawberries, banana, like
you like bananas
granola.
now?
It's crazy.
I remember you said you didn't like bananas back. I still remember that.
Yeah,
so
it's
you're like
crazy.
cramping up, like eat
Yeah.
banana. Like I hate bananas.
Yeah,
Like, what?
yeah, it's crazy. So
You're changing, Louis.
yeah. Like even my mom said that. Like she saw me eat a banana, and her mind was blown.
I remember you threw it at me. Like I'm not eating. I'm like, dude, you're cramping up. It's like Final Four. I'm like, eat a banana. You're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need potassium. So protein shake
Yeah,
with
so
some berries.
Yeah, strawberries, bananas, granola. Take like 6 pills, but it's like
The supplements?
Yeah. So
You like
it's
fish
like
oil and stuff. Or
yeah,
magnesium
yeah,
and all that.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
I was about to say that. Yeah, so vitamin D, all
Like
that.
joint stuff, right?
Yep. So, and then at night a lot of chicken for the protein.
Yeah. Chicken, fish.
Yeah, rice.
You eat fish? You like fish?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I mainly just eat chicken, brown rice.
Yeah.
So
Because I think it wasn't didn't Michael Jordan have a steak before every game? Was that
Yeah.
his thing? Like, it
Yeah.
was just like, I mean, what do you think? A lot of these guys, like, when they get to a certain level, like, the nutrition is just that extra key. I remember, like, athletically, when you're a kid, you don't know what the heck you're doing. Like, and of course, at the end of the day, too, when you're a kid, you just need a lot of carbs because you're just burning through stuff.
Yeah.
Your metabolism slows down, but also, I think,
and stretching is key. What a lot of people don't.
yeah,
Like I started doing yoga when
Yeah.
I was in Europe. Chris Miller is actually the one that got me into that, and like that puts extra years. Like LeBron example,
yeah.
he stretches like
Tom Brady too,
yeah.
football.
or Joe Johnson, like very hot yoga.
So you guys, do you stretch most days?
Every day.
Do you do a lot of like lacrosse and foam rolling?
Yep.
I was gonna say when I was stretching the most, you just feel so limber. You get up, you sleep better, you move better. You're not
But
stiff.
the one thing I was taught by our trainer is, how like you full out stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to do that before games. It's supposed to be like light stretching.
Oh, yeah, more dynamic.
Yeah, because your ligaments, you don't want them to be very loose. You want them to be like
What?
no,
No, I know what you mean. More
bouncing.
snappy
Yeah.
kind of, because I think you do more static stretching after
Yeah.
working out or cooling down and stuff. But yeah, I think it's just more if you go through the motions at like a light range of motion, slow, and then you kind of build into
Instead
it.
of like counting to 10 or 15, count to 5 with like a bounce movement. You know.
Yeah, because you're like greasing the grooves a little bit.
Yep.
You're just kind of making things kind of move and not stick. And do you find that days after games, like how actually after you play a game, how many days off do you get? Do you play a lot of back to back?
So like say we'll play Saturday, our next game could be Tuesday or Wednesday.
Do you get many days off in between games, or you're still doing shoot arounds and practice?
Yeah, we practice. He gives us a day off, then we practice.
Okay, so you get some days off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming though that's like stretching and foam rolling and just kind of recovering and eating and sleeping and all that. So what's a typical day in season for you in Germany?
So
Like do a game day and off day.
So like say Monday, which we don't have a game. I get up around 10, go to the gym 11:30. I do a stretching class, and then I'll lift, and then grab something to eat, hang out for the day, and then go to practice.
You practice at what time roughly?
Between 6 and 8. Like it depends. Like sometimes at 6, sometimes at 8. Like it's always 6 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what time do you try to get to bed by?
Probably 12. Sometimes I was going to bed at 2 and getting up at 10 because.
But I was going to say, your schedule's pushed out. If you have a game at 7 at night, you're not going to bed at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you're up. You got to get dinner.
Yeah.
And then on a game day, what's the game day look like?
So I'll get up around 10 also. I'll grab something small to eat, and then I'll go to the gym and do like a small lift, like what I would do lifting wise. But say if I was lifting 100 pounds, I would lift 50 that day. I do a lot of ladder work just to get loose throughout the day.
Yeah.
I'll go to a coffee shop, sit there, have a coffee, relax, try to not think about the game.
Yeah.
And then so say around, we have to be, if the game's at 8, we have to be at the gym at 6. So I'll take a nap from 4 to 5:15.
Yeah.
So
do you eat before games?
I'll eat at 3. I'll eat a really big meal, and then and then when I get to the gym, I'll have like an apple or.
Do you eat at all during the game, or do you take anything?
I'll eat a banana at halftime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too that I learned over time, and that we never did as kids. You weren't eating during games, and obviously different level. But the thing is, you just don't think about how important a snack at halftime is. Just something quick, even just like gummy bears or something. Yeah. I had a girl interning here. She played on the hockey team at Plattsburgh State, and she's like, "Oh, I keep animal crackers in my locker." So it's the same thing. At between periods, you're eating animal crackers just to get calories in because you don't realize how much you're burning as you're playing. And again, you think about if you go from the time you leave to the time you get there, change, warm up, practice, play the game. I mean, you're by the time you tip off, you're probably 3 hours, 4 hours you haven't ate yet. Yeah. So
sometimes I'm honestly drained after warm ups.
Just because of lack of fuel in the body?
Yeah, or warming up too hard, to get ready for the game, or too much excitement built up, and then when the jump ball happens, it's you relax.
What's your warm up, or roughly time, half hour warm up?
Yeah, we do individual warm up, and then we do team warm up. I'll say it's about 40 minutes. They put 40 minutes on the clock
for that whole thing to happen.
Yeah. So say if we play at 8, around 7:15, 7:20, they put 45 minutes on the clock.
So and then do you have any break between the individual shoot around and team?
Yeah, so before we'll have 20 minutes before the game. I mean before team warm-ups.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you go too hard, that's more the individual, just going through drills and running through stuff?
No, it's...
Or the team?
It's during the team, just because the excitement builds back up.
Meaning you're playing defense harder, you're shuffling more, or whatever.
No, I'm saying we're going through the layup line or team defensive slides or whatever. You're
so you're just hitting at a higher intensity than you should.
Yeah, you're getting because the excitement is slowly creeping up.
So you still have the butterflies before games.
Yeah.
You think that ever's going to go away?
It did a couple times.
Yeah.
When I felt like I was hitting the level of where I wanted to be as a player. I was so confident that I'm it's just another game,
So how do you stack up right now? Do you still? I mean, you said you averaged what 28 last year.
No, this season that just went by, I averaged 23.
I mean, I'm assuming you're in the top. Like, you must be the best player on the team, one of the top two.
No, on my team, I'm the best player.
And then
when I'm playing, I'm the best player in the league. Like when I'm at my top, I'm easily the best player in the league.
That's crazy. That's wild to think about that. But I mean, like I said, now, but you're playing even against guys that are 10 years, 15 years younger than you. You know,
yeah, or in a couple that might be 10 years older than me. On there, like just sticking around.
So there's some guys that can, put, I guess from a longevity standpoint, still extending the career.
Yeah.
And running, you're still okay. Like, it doesn't beat up the knees or anything.
No, I had like this past season, I broke my foot again and I pulled my hamstring.
Well, the video you showed me, you guys wearing a lot of compression. Does that help you?
No, I just do it because I'm cold.
Is that really it?
Yeah.
I always wonder.
I like to stay warm when I'm playing. Also, I sweat a lot, so when I'm playing without a long sleeve, my sweat gets on my hands and then I lose control of the ball.
So when did you transition to that, wearing long sleeves?
I started doing that in.
Because you used to practice with long sleeves. Yeah.
Sophomore year of college, I started doing that.
So you're and when you practice, same thing, long sleeves mostly.
Yeah.
You don't overheat at all.
No.
Do you wear compression pants too?
No. So I just wear the knee sleeves. I wear the Under Armour long sleeve and then the knee sleeves to keep my knees warm.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it doesn't make sense because I'm short. I get kneed all the time, and my knees are thighs, which is weird.
Well, maybe. I mean, if you're jumping or going up for a layout.
No, it's off screens, like chasing the other guard.
I guess if the guy's crouching.
But I'm smaller than him.
But if you're standing up a little bit running?
No, I'm going on the angle, so I'm bent over.
Unless you're just...
So it's just weird.
Trying to slow you down or throw like a knee out or something. Yeah, I figure... I mean, there's got to be some chippiness going on just to slow you down or pull on your shorts or do stuff to like slow you up.
I knew I was in the pro league when... This never happens in high school. In the college I played at, they didn't do it. I'm on defense. I'm going through the middle, and the big man comes out and like hip checks me, and then goes back just to slow me down so his guard can get open for that shot.
It's crazy when you think, because the cool thing about basketball, I love watching basketball, but like, you know, the court's not big at the end of the day. It doesn't change. You got 5 players on the court, or 5 players per team, but when you start to see at the higher levels all those little weird, like little nuancy things that people do that just on another level, because the basics are the basics. People have those, but then it's, you know, you see it in soccer too. Like, how do you take 11v11 on this big pitch and have them play and have the game be so much more advanced than what you see like just kids playing? Yeah. And it's but it's like when people are just so good at what they're doing that, like you said, that they make that effortless where it's like it was a whole new thing that was like, because then it makes you think like, okay, now I got to attend with that and not just run and follow people. What's been the hardest transition to pro basketball?
Consistency. You got to be
just
that player they brought you in, like they saw you score 30, they want you to score 30 every night. You know what I mean?
Do you feel that pressure to do so?
Not anymore. When I first started, yeah, because I was new to it. Now it's just like, this is what I have to do, you know.
Do you find that you can stay pretty consistent around, like if you average, like you said, 23, you pretty consistent around there?
Yeah.
You don't have many drop-off games or anything?
No, I will here and there. I did this past season because of injury.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I broke the same foot again, and so I had to adjust to the pain, and I couldn't explode at first for a little while. And then when it got healthier, that's when my hamstring went. So I had no explosiveness.
What about, do you analyze your games a lot? Your play?
Yeah.
Like after the game?
Yeah, I watch a lot of film on myself too. I should have shot that, or because I get the same looks every game because of our set plays.
Are you, like you said, your own worst critic, but like, are you your own worst critic and your biggest cheerleader?
No, I never say good job.
But I mean, but I'm saying, like, from a cheerleading perspective though, like, do you ever look at, like my mindset and a lot of things that I do, like I will be critical of myself to like a standpoint of, and again, this is not basketball. This might just be life, maybe a business decision, might be something I do. And I'll be critical of the sense of like, okay, you can do that better. You can get this better. We should have done that. And like, I almost play it in my head, but then there's times too where I'm like, you're putting in your effort. Like at least you're trying. And like, so for that standpoint, it's kind of weird. Like I'll be playing in my head like that. Like, like, no, that's fine. Like, it ended up, but you tried your best, or you made the right decision, or you made the right decision you thought was the right decision. So I'm always big on, like, can I live with my decision, or live with, like, the things I do, or the things I say, or how I act, or basically my intent as a person. So I can say, like, that's good or bad. Like, I know when I screw up. I know when I don't do something correctly. I know when I'm trying to take a shortcut. Like, you know, you're human. You can't. I heard this quote the other day. Like, you can fool everybody but yourself, basically. And you know, you can cheat everybody but yourself, because you know deep down you do what you're supposed to do. So do you find, from that cheerleading standpoint, do you give yourself some grace of, like, no, like, you're working, like, you're injured, like, maybe you could have done that movement, but, you know, maybe one thing, you recognize that, now you can work at it, but do you find that you still are, like, you know, keep pushing yourself along? Like, I mean, you have to, I think, at this level.
Yeah, it's just what I learned a few years ago. It's honestly, like you just said, pretty much it's you versus you.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, example, if I have 35 points today, the next game I expect myself to have 35 or more. You know what I mean? And I just try to compete with myself, but I never really, oh, you played well today. You know, I'm like,
But, like, say you have, like, an off day. Say you shoot 35 and the next day you have 18, which I would still say is decent. You know, at that level. But you might say it's not what I wanted to do, but maybe, like, I didn't feel good, or just one of those days I wasn't really in it. Or you could say, hey, I wasn't really in it, so today I'm not going to be 100%. I might be 80%, but was I able to tap into 80%? You know, and I think that's where, you know, I think everybody's human. You only have, like I look at it, if there's a day where I'm just clicking, and the day you feel it, you just feel good, you feel rested, you're making good decisions, thinking fast. On those days, I try to take advantage of that and just say, let me just double down. And there's days where I get up and I'm like, I just don't have it in me. Like, I want to just stay home today. I don't want to talk to people. And those days, I take whatever my expectation. I might even have a day where I want to accomplish a bunch, and I'll just say, you know what? I'm dropping it down to 20% of what I wanted to do today. And if I can get that 20% done, I'm good. Tomorrow's another day. Because
you don't think you're cheating yourself, though?
I don't. The reason I look at that is, like, every day I wish would be 100%. But again, I realize, like, there's days where I just get up and I'm more. Like, I'm going more of a mental standpoint than a physical standpoint, because, again, my life, like, I think more than I physically act on stuff. But if I look at something and I just know mentally I'm just not sharp today for whatever reason, it's kind of like when, you know, I remember, you know, whether say you had to, like, write a paper in school. Some days you could just sit there and start writing and come at to you, and some days you just sit there and be like, I don't even know what to write. Your brain's just not firing. And those days, I just lower my expectation that day, because I don't want to. I don't want to beat myself up to try to get to a level I just know I'm not going to hit today. So I'll sit there and say, I can't be 100% today. I can be 60%, but if I can only be if I know I'm going to, this is how I justify in my head. If I know I can only hit 60% of my capacity, I want to hit 60% today.
So that's your 100% for that day.
Correct. Like, okay. I don't want to know I can hit 60 and then do 40. Because then I think I'm cheating myself. Because some days I'm like, I don't have it, but if I can do these 1 or 2 or 3 things today, then I consider that a good day. I'm not going to get 10 things done. I'll get a few, but I know I'm still moving forward.
I have those days. It actually happened to me yesterday, where I was just like, I'm not feeling it today, but let me do at least this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then that doesn't mean it was a lost day. It was like you just didn't, and it might be a day where your body's just like listening.
No, that's the one thing I started doing, was listening to my body, because I used to think I have to work out 6 days out the week.
Yeah.
But that's actually how I got hurt, was I was just tired.
Well, you just beat yourself down more and more. Do you do any mind practice for games? Visualization or anything, like meditation or anything?
No, I watch Eric Thomas.
Maybe that sounds familiar.
Motivational speaker.
The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Well, he's like one of the big motivational speakers. So I watch a lot of his stuff on game days, because I feel like a lot of messages he sends to the people, and like he's talking to me, so it gets me like mentally ready.
Head this space.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because when you get to a pro level, like psychology and things, and there's a couple books. I'm looking behind you. I have it up there somewhere. The book, it's side. You actually you could read it. The Obstacle is the Way. Just to the left of the soccer ball there on the bottom shelf. Top book right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that book right there, Ryan Holiday, he's very big on, like, Stoic philosophy.
Okay.
But that might be a lot of guys from the Patriots and Seattle Seahawks read that. But a lot of it's just kind of like I said, it's just that mindset of just like ways you can put yourself in positions. And a lot of it, as you said, it's like the man in the mirror. It's like that's really all you're up against because you can, you just kind of keep getting better and better than that person.
And that's where people fail, I think, is they're too busy worried about, example, what does Galen think of my game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to I'm trying to impress you when you're not paying my bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, if the owner or coach has you here, you already impressed them. So just be yourself. You know. So a lot of people get caught up in that worrying about X, Y, and Z when those people don't matter.
Actually, I'm curious to see. Me and my wife have this conversation a lot, and so she was always. So here's the two scenarios. So I'm going to give it away. So one, do you get more motivation at having like a rabbit to chase, like someone that you're trying to beat, or do you get more motivation of being the best version of yourself?
Mixed, to be honest.
Okay.
So, because I love to compete, so if I'm walking in the gym and I know this player is like elite, I want to guard him. I want him to guard me, but at the same time, I want to make sure I do what I know I do best. So I'm competing with him, but myself at the same time.
So I guess what would happen if, say hypothetically, because this is where my argument is, if you say that player is better than you.
Yep.
Say at some point in time you pass that player in skill level, whatever it might be, or in the league right now you're like, I think I'm the best player in the league. If you think you're the best player in the league, do you find that now the benchmark's been set by you, or are you someone that's going to tap into that extra gear to get the best version of Corey? Because again, to me, the rabbit to chase and get better, I think only works until the point where you pass that person. Because then again, it's that man in the mirror thing. It's like if you're the best, like I look at, if you want to argue, like say whoever you think's the best in the NBA right now, Steph or LeBron or whoever, would they look at it and like say it's Steph, he just won an NBA championship? Is he going to look at it and say I'm the best? Now who is there to get better than if he's the best?
But he's probably, some people take it as I'm the best and I'm scared to be in second place, meaning he's going to always play at that high level because he's being chased.
So he's still going to use that chasing?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Instead of chasing the rabbit, he is the rabbit.
Just keep distancing that. Yeah. So is that what you feel like now in the league?
Yeah.
Like how can I pull away from these guys?
Yeah, because my goal is, because of my age and how late I started, is to play in the third or second division for like 3 seasons. And hopefully I can become coach right from there,
Yeah.
So that's my
Do you think
goal.
there's opportunity there?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of, I'm assuming being in the league, you've made some good connections within the league?
Yeah. So in this past season, I played with a lot of first division players, like NBA players, and I've had coaches tell me, like, if I was younger, I could easily play
At that level?
Yeah.
But do you think, is there opportunities you think to coach in those levels?
Yeah.
Start off as maybe an assistant in like the top level
Yeah,
and work way up?
So what actually happens is a lot of players will play for one team for like 3 to 4 seasons, retire there, but while they're doing that, they're making good connections to, hey, coach, can I be your assistant coach? So when he leaves, you just slide into that spot.
And you like Germany?
Yeah.
So it'd be a place you could live and keep doing it there?
Yeah.
I was going to say, is there anything, like, can you speak German?
No, I've been practicing.
Do you guys work with interpreters or not interpreters, but teachers at all?
No, like that. We have the option if we wanted to, but I just do it with my teammates and the Duolingo app.
But for the most part, it's easy to get by there.
Yeah. Everybody speaks English.
That's what I figured too. Yeah, English is so universal now. That, and I guess from like culture wise, how's like German basketball different than in the States?
It's more team. So like, they don't like guys scoring 40s and 50s. They rather you score between 16 and 25 and make the extra pass. When here, if I have Bob guarding me, I know he can't guard me. The whole team knows we're going to keep giving me the ball and just attack the mismatch. They're like, no, we're just going to keep running the system. You shot 3 times, now you shoot. Now let's get Chris a shot and get Nate, you know what I mean?
What do you think the purpose of that is?
Keep everybody engaged.
Just, okay.
Yeah.
More for like morale and stuff?
Yeah. To us, because Americans, we're thinking, honestly, we think selfishly, but to us it's team basketball. Like, you have the mismatch. give you the ball. You know?
I always looked at basketball or any sport. I mean, I was always one of those people what's my skill? What's my max at? What am I good at? I'm going to stay in that. I'm not going to try to go basketball. I'm not going to go chuck up a bunch of shots because I know I'm not good. I can give it to Lewis. I mean, there's times I play with you exactly. It's like, how can I clear space out for him to drive? And then how can I fill in the gap if he gets in trouble and kick it out? That's it. I'm not a dribbler. I'm not rebounding. I know where I'm at. I remember Rob Guerin used to give me shit about rebounding and defense. I'm like, I wasn't great at them, but I was also like, I could get better at them, but I said, where's my skill set amongst players that are better than me? It's like you fill in the gaps. You know? And if I could just do a couple things good that were adequate enough to make the team win, I was okay.
Yes.
But to me, that was I was like, if Lewis is going to drop 50 on this kid, let's let Lewis drop 50. Let's try to get him to drop 60 because we're going to win the game.
But they don't think that way at all. It's not like, you'd be surprised. It's crazy. There's a time, I think my best game in Germany, I think I had 33 points and 15 assists, I think it was. To me, I thought that was my best game ever. And they're like, oh, you could have had more assists, less points. We won the game.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I mean, I'm sure there's a philosophy behind it, like you said, morale, and I think there's some semi-good benefits to it. But to me, to tell a guy that can shoot and score and again, the idea of the game, I mean, you could win a game with no assists in the game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just get a rebound, take it down and score. If you win, you win the game. I just think, I think especially when you're just playing sports, the goal is to win the game.
Yeah. It happened this year also. I had one game I had 36 or something. Mm-hmm. We won the game. It was a great game. And there was another game I had 18, and my coach said I played better in the game that I had 18. That we struggled to win, but the game I had 35, we won in a comfortable way, you know.
That seems so odd to me.
Yeah, and I shot a better percentage, scoring 36. So,
yeah, it just seems like they're looking at the wrong metrics here. Yeah. But when do you turn 34 soon, right?
October.
You're an October kid? Yeah. I didn't know that. I don't know why I'm getting screwed up. I'm thinking you're 45.
Everybody else does.
Yeah, no. So I guess what's your plans going forward with like you said, you're going to try to get into a couple higher leagues and then potentially do the coaching. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything if the coaching doesn't work out? Is there anything else you could be involved in with basketball?
Skill training, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to train kids. I got my first kid that I'm training starting next week. Starting this week. So I'm going to see how that goes. So pretty much he's like my
protege, guinea pig.
Yeah, pretty much. So I want to see how I do with him before I make that next step.
Do you think you could do anything business-wise with the teams? In the business?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe I
not actually playing, but I mean in I say front office, but in something regarding, because we're kind of joking about the agency stuff. But I remember you as a kid wheeling and dealing stuff. I think you could, if you know the ins and outs of the league and stuff, you just kind of put the mindset towards. Because I find again, Mark Cuban has a book out and their thing basically calls business the fifth major sport, and it really is when you start, because I think that's the fun thing about. Depending on what role you play in business, is it can be a game. It's just not a game of physically dribbling basketball, but it's you're thinking and you're processing and you're trying to get the advantage. And there's a lot of similarities, but I could see you taking a mindset, which is a very similar mindset, into a different craft, which might be like I said, the business realm, which still keeps you in basketball, but not maybe in the gym on the court all the time.
Honestly, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you could just. I think enough connections, but I said when you start talking about hey, some of the qualities that I think you possess and that you could possess or you could translate or transition to, and just keep rolling that, I think you'd be fine.
No, just pretty much, like I said, just play for a couple more years, hopefully coach or skill train. Yeah. If neither one of those work out, I'd probably just disappear from the game.
You think you'd give it up that quick?
I did before.
But it didn't bother you just to give it up?
No,
it'd be fine,
because I know I put a lot of time into it. So
the one thing that and again, this was, obviously in the last 10 years or so, it was always same people, and I'm sure you've heard this where people are like, why is he chasing this or doing that? And I always thought when anybody ever said that, my first thought was good for him, because I think I think the thing that a lot of people do is they settle or they don't chase after a dream they have. And I think for you, you're just kind of like, you know what? Got one life, let me live it and just go at it full bore. And I think I always found it, even before you came here, I mean, just years of following you, social media, just random things I'd see from you. It's like, I'm like, this is crazy that he's still doing it and still like pushing forward and just kind of
I've had that before. Like, don't you think it's time to give it up? No, that's what you think, you know, because you gave it up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I need to give it up. You know what I mean? So I've had it before I even went pro. Like, I told one of my friends at the time, I'm not friends with them anymore, that I was thinking about going pro. And that person told me at the kitchen table, like, you can't make it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you're my friend.
Yeah.
Why would you know what I mean?
Why would he know? Or how could he know? And that's the thing. I think if anybody's got a drive to do something and a passion for it, just get out of their way, you know. And I think, but I think it's so cool. I think what you're doing and just the fact that
I just think people are scared. They're scared to fail. That's all it is.
Well, that I think I almost think some of those people are scared of achieving.
Yeah.
Because I mean, because think about it, they're telling you no. It's like, well, me telling you not to go do something or not to go achieve? You playing professional basketball, it does nothing for me. If I tell you whether you succeed or not, it does nothing. So like, why would I push that on you? But then at the end of the day, it's like if you can succeed, or if I wanted to try something and it's a high achieving thing and I succeed at it, like I think a lot of people are scared of success because it comes with different territory and different level of thinking and changing in lifestyle and things. Like you said, like how many things have you changed in lifestyle over the last 10, 15 years to make this dream a reality?
Like talking.
Well, talking, but I think too, you're living in a different continent, different culture. You know, you're not with family. You're just, I mean, obviously you have, the guy you live with and your other friends that are like your support system, but you still had to go and, develop and cultivate this support system. It wasn't like you moved family and all your friends in your hometown with
by
you.
myself.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's especially at a, 20-something years old, just hopping into a plane and traveling across the world and saying, well, across the world, but across the ocean, saying, let me try out for basketball. Yeah. Not how many people would have done that? Not a lot. Yeah. I mean, think how many people that don't do that, And so I think it's cool. I think what you're doing is awesome. And yeah, no, this is cool. I'm glad you reached out.
I appreciate it.
So have you listened to any I'm not gonna put you on the spot if you didn't, but like.
No, honestly, I didn't even know you had one.
That's so funny.
Because I'm so like in my own world, I don't really pay attention. But a kid named Kevin Murray is the one that told me about it.
I'm trying to think who I would have had on here. Actually, I'm looking at the list right now. I mean, there's a couple people probably in the last like 2 months that maybe based on the age you said and area, but I'm trying to think who I would have actually said your name about. Maybe an Alec Adnaha. I don't know. Who knows? But it was cool. You reached out of the blue and you happened to be in the States. So I was like, this is a good thing. So right now you're playing, you said pickup?
Yeah. Thursdays, there's a Plattsburgh Summer League. I play with a couple of my old friends. And then during the week, I just train.
So you're there almost every day training?
Yeah.
Do you have anybody that's local right now that's training? You said those two guys from Potsdam.
Yeah, so Parker, I train with him once in a while. And then when Solomon, he lives in the Albany area. So when he comes up to visit, we train together.
Any guys from Plattsburgh State still?
I don't know anybody now.
We went to the Hall of Fame induction this past year.
Well, Anthony Williams?
Yeah. And Anthony and Travis. So it was funny. So my wife got in a couple of years ago. So it was the first time I went, and then she went back. And I think it's cool. Like if you're in the Hall of Fame to go back and kind of it's kind of cool to get inducted and see other Hall of Famers there. So she went back. And it was a cool event, and the thing was, I remember watching those guys when I was high school, and Travis and Anthony were just on another level, and who's Curtis
Smith?
He was there too, but I think he had graduated before, but he's in the Hall of Fame too. Those guys are all great. And I remember I've seen Travis. He still lives local, so I've seen him out and about, and I haven't seen Anthony since he was there, but Anthony. He came up, and what was cool about it, because Gina knew a couple of the guys, and she was talking to him afterwards and stuff, but a lot of his teammates were there. And it was funny, like, seeing those guys I hadn't seen in a while, and Curl couldn't make it up that day, but he came up the next day, and they had, like, a pickup game they were playing, but a lot of them still play basketball. Yeah. They're still in it, and I don't know if you must know those guys pretty well.
Yeah, because those are actually what like made me like basketball more because I met them my sophomore year of high school,
Yeah.
and Sean Gutzman and Travis Gorham
Yeah.
took me under their wing, and that's when I started developing basketball better. So like you said, my senior year when I was better than most, it was because of those guys. I was playing with them.
Oh, and they were better than
Yeah.
everybody in their league.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I was around the best talent, you know.
well, Anthony was D1 transfer too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
And Travis came from a
Oh,
D2.
you're right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was easily a Division One player. They had a couple like Division One players on their team that should have been playing Division One.
Yeah. I just remember how talented those guys were, but it was cool seeing them again. But they had like clips from old games they're showing, and of course hearing those guys talk about like 10, 15 years ago now was like, or 15 years ago, it was cool. But it's I didn't know if you had any connections with the teams nowadays, like locally.
No,
Probably
yeah,
not
I
as
don't.
much.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any local guys here.
after I think it was because my last year of college was 2013. So after that year, I just like
We took a couple years off.
went away from and then when I came back, in my mind, it didn't make sense to go backwards because I was going the pro level. So I started connecting with different type of people, players.
Who's the best player you've ever played with, whether practice or on the court?
Played with or played against or
Played
anything.
against on the court and practice
This
training.
kid named I think his name is Josh Wright. He played in the NBA.
Okay.
Him, Edwin Ubilis, he played in
Yeah.
the NBA.
Yeah.
Honestly, Trav is one of the best players I played with and against. Anthony Williams also. I'm talking about them in their prime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like 07,
Yeah.
06, 07.
yeah,
Yeah, Ubilis. Where did you play against him?
he came up here. I used to work out with him.
Really?
Yeah,
Where was he from? City?
he is from Poughkeepsie, New York City. Played at Siena. Anthony Williams is his brother, so he would come up here during the summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and work out, and I would work out with him or play. Like I played him 1-on-1 once.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Do you remember? Kenny. He played at Siena. Probably played with him.
He was the guard.
Kenny Hasbro.
He wasn't the point guard.
He might have been at Siena. He's if you ever go down, I think they call it Times Union Pepsi Arena. His jersey's retired.
Oh, really?
He was about your age, but Kenny, he was really good. That's when they went to the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
Siena won the division, whatever. But Kenny went. I think played pretty well. But yeah, no, Siena was a good team. I mean, they still, like I said, they're playing in D1.
Yeah.
UVM or Albany or any of those guys. So, no, it's cool. I don't know, Lewis, got anything else?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't as bad as you thought. You guys
No,
throw
it
it
was-
up before.
no,
I feel like you're playing like in a big playoff game or a big championship game.
It was
here,
just,
so.
I thought it was going to be a lot different,
Easier or harder?
easier.
This
Yeah.
is hard?
No, I thought it was going to be harder to
Oh.
speak or talk about whatever.
Well, I'm asking about you, so it's. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, what do I need to prep? I'm like, as long as you know about yourself, you're probably going to be good, or about what I'm going to ask you, which is about you. So, and then what are you listed at in your program in Germany, height wise?
5'9".
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, 5'11". Actually, I remember I call it the Plattsburgh High School. I remember playing, and I looked at the brochure.
Yeah.
And the shortest guy in the team who was shorter than me was listed at like 5'8", and I'm like, "There's no way he's 5'8". Like I'm 5'6", maybe 5'7", and he's shorter than me. And he had like guys that were like, I mentioned that to Matt when I saw him. I said, "What is this with all you guys adding like 4 inches to your height?" He goes, "Oh yeah, that was on purpose." I mean, it was on purpose. It was more.
Yeah,
like,
they do that in the NBA also.
Yeah.
They always do that.
yeah, just
They say
intimidation.
they'll say Kyrie's 6'4" and Kyrie's 5'11".
That's wild.
Yeah.
What's your NBA team now?
I don't have a team. I just have players because everybody changed
Which,
teams.
what players do you like watching?
Kyrie, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Paul George,
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul. Yeah,
You said
I used to really like him, but as the game developed and changed,
You guys different skill sets.
yeah,
Because he reminds me a lot of you. Kind of
Yeah.
like built the same same style of
like
player.
I used to watch him and you remember Darren Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch them a lot, and even Rondo because of how they.
Illinois, Darren Williams. Remember them back in 05? D. Brown and Aaron Williams? That team was stacked. Then they had a Jamal Nelson on St. Joe's.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like now, also I watch Trey Young and Luca because of the way they do,
Yeah.
how well they are in the pick and roll. So,
But they brought that over from Europe, right?
Yep.
Is Luka the best European player right now, or that came from Europe in the league?
between him and Giannis
Oh yeah. Which one would you give the nod to?
and Joker, or Jokic.
Which one do you think's the best though? Giannis?
Yeah, him and Joker from the Nuggets.
I don't know him as well. I don't follow. I mean, I know some of the NBA, but not as much. The one thing I will remember though is you had this old school starter windbreaker
The
jacket.
Golden State.
Golden State before people like Golden State. Like, you remember that?
Yeah, Tom Brandell gave it to me.
Yeah, and I remember you walking around. I'm like, Golden State. Who wears a Golden State Warriors? And then of course here we are years later.
But if I tell people I used to be a fan, it will sound like I'm a
bandwagon.
Yeah.
You got to have a picture of it because I want to pull.
No, I don't.
Like I need a picture of like 06 Lewis and the Golden State.
I've looked for it like when Golden State started making their run in 2016. I was looking for it, and I can't find it.
It was that old blue and yellow, with
the zipper right in front.
Oh yeah, the old starter. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
All right, Lewis, we're gonna end there. I guess if you say if anybody wants to find you, but look you up. I'll put the team name in the description below. I'll see if I can put the link to your the video you sent me.
Okay.
But no, I think it was cool. Like I said, it's just cool watching it. The thing is, you move similar to whatever. Like I mean, you're a different player, but like I said, you always have those tendencies and stuff. So it's kind of cool watching, basketball, and it's like, no, I remember him doing that. I remember him blowing by me and scoring. So, but no, this was cool, man. I appreciate you reaching out. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. And like I said, I think out of all the people I know, you're one of the people just like chasing a dream. It's just awesome. Well, you never know. Maybe it's front office somewhere. So.
Who knows?
Could be owning a team one day. So cool. All right, that's episode. What are we? 195 with Corey Lewis. We're out. Thanks for listening to the Galen Trombley Show. If you want to reach me, you can go on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. The spelling GaelanTrombley.